a barrel of whiskey, a lot of food, games, and a major fistfight is how the first Independence Day celebration went in Lancaster, Ohio. So let's look at it. The first Independence Day celebration either took place in 1800 or 1802. Historian Charles Goslin puts it at 1802, but George Sanderson, who was an eyewitness to the event, says 1800. It's not really important. Either way, it was the early 1800s when Lancaster celebrated its first Independence Day. The location of that celebration was between present-day Martins Park and present-day Hunter Park. And that area makes sense because that's where Joseph and Dorothy Hunter, that's where their settlement was located. They were the first white settlers in Fairfield County. So it makes sense that the celebration was in that vicinity. So what did they eat at this celebration? Well, they ate roasted bear meat, venison, vegetables, chicken, turkey, and Johnny cake, which is like a cornmeal flatbread, and baked pone. Baked pone was a type of bread that was made from cornmeal and was a staple of the 13 colonies. To drink, they had a barrel of whiskey, and there weren't any cups or anything like that. They had dippers in the barrel. So you just came and dipped out your whiskey, put it back, and then put the dipper back into the barrel. As far as activities go, it sounds like it was almost like a mini backyard Olympics style celebration where you had wrestling matches, you had jumping competitions, you had running competitions, you had fist fights. They also had something called quoit throwing, which is a game where a person tries to throw a ring of iron or rope as near as possible to or directly on a peg. So it was just a lot of activities, physical activities that took place. There was no reading of the Declaration of Independence, but they did sing patriotic songs. They would chant "Hooray for America" in between the activities. There were no pyrotechnics. There were no fireworks. All of that would come later. We do know of one story that took place that was kind of interesting, and that was a major fist fight that occurred. There was a traveler who was headed to the Scioto Valley that was making his way past, and the commotion of the celebration kind of caught his attention. We know that the man was from Virginia, and he was looking to settle in the Scioto Valley. He stopped at the celebration to, of course, sample the food and whiskey, and to get in on the celebration. But then he told him he was going to make his way to the Scioto Valley to live. It's where some of his neighbors from Virginia had gone, and some of the residents from Lancaster said, well, Hocking Valley is a great place to live, and the people here are better, and they're selling the Hocking Valley as the place to go. And the guy said, I don't know, I hear that the Scioto Valley has, some good people, and maybe more so than here. That was kind of taken as a challenge by the Lancasterians, and they said, well, let's settle this with a fist fight then. And that's what they did. Lancaster residents kind of formed a circle. They selected a man to fight for them, and this traveler going to the Scioto Valley, and this man were in this circle of people, and the rule was no one could interfere, and they let him fight. It was described as a stubborn trial where both men were pummeled pretty bad. But in the end, the man that was headed to the Scioto Valley conceded defeat, and the Lancasterian won the fight. And because of this, he said, you know what, I think I'm going to stay here. So the rumor is that he became a resident of Fairfield County in the Hocking Valley, rather than to continue to the Scioto Valley. The celebration and the fight and everything was all wrapped up by mid-afternoon, and everybody returns to their home, probably a little tipsy, full stomachs, and full of patriotism, as they celebrated the first Independence Day celebration in Lancaster.